Whenever somebody asks me to sign a book or I'm writing a note to somebody, I like to always end it with this saying: live your dreams. Or sometimes I say, keep living your dreams, because I assume they're already living their dreams, but I want them to keep living their dreams and keep dreaming bigger. We talked about dreaming before, but how do you live your dreams? There's three things I want to share with you in this segment of how you can bring those dreams to life. And the first thing is, and I'm going to use the prime my body concept of priming with each of them. The first thing you have to do is prime your dreams. When is the best time to visualize? It's actually when you're in bed. So when you're waking up in the morning and you're in an alpha brainwave state, your subconscious mind is more open to your dreams, to your visualization. When you try and do it during the day and you're busy and you're in a beta wave state, your brain's like really humming and working and stressed out, it's going to be harder for those dreams to sink in, especially down to the subconscious. So time of day for visualizing is really important. Not to say you can't do it through the day. If you do it through the day, though, make sure you settle yourself down. You can focus in, relax a little bit, and allow yourself to really engage in that dream, in that visualization. But when you wake up, beautiful time to visualize. 3-4 minutes before you get out of bed, just visualize your day. Visualize the 3 biggest things you want to accomplish, your 3 biggest dreams. And then the second great time is also in bed. It's before you go to sleep. Before you go to sleep, you're a little bit tired. You're about ready to nod off. Before you nod off, just plant that seed back in your brain again. So while you sleep, your subconscious mind, that part of your brain that's always working, the conscious mind goes to sleep. But the subconscious mind is always working. It can process 40 million, I almost said billion. That would have been really, really cool. But 40 million, not too bad. 40 million bits of information per second. The conscious mind, only 40 bits of information per second, which is still pretty good. Think about it. Every second, boom, 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 40 things. But 40 million is way better. And so when we get the subconscious mind thinking about and working on bringing these dreams to fruition, it starts to notice things your conscious mind will never notice. It'll spot something that gives you a clue of how to achieve something that your conscious mind would never notice. It will come up with an idea to talk to somebody or what to say to somebody that your conscious mind will never come up with. I was just working on with a person yesterday, coaching them that is on presenting, and they're trying to consciously think through their presentation every minute, and they're struggling with that. I said, look, your conscious mind is not a great creator of content while you're presenting. It's fine before creating the outline, but when you're presenting, like right now, I'm going to make little mistakes, but I'm using my subconscious mind to bring out these ideas. Like I didn't even plan on telling you about that person I was coaching yesterday. That came from the subconscious as an example of what I'm talking about here. So to access the subconscious, you either need to get into a deep meditative state during the day to really put those dreams in you big, where they're motivating and driving ideas and resources, or access the state that you already have readily available when you wake up, when you go to bed. Okay, so those are 2 great times to really prime your dreams. Second thing, you got to prime your mind. Do you wake up feeling great every single day? Probably a couple of you might do that. The rest of us, no. I don't wake up feeling great every single day. Some days I don't get enough sleep. Some days, I'm just not looking forward to what I have to do during the day. So what we have to do is prime our mind. Oops. And so one of the things we have to prime our mind to do is get rid of saying you can't do something. We had a saying when I was with Tony Robbins that if you ever said can't, if you ever said the word I can't or it can't be done, we had a saying, a belief system actually. If you can't, you must. And so we did not say can't. There's a funny little video of my son. He ended up being a Division I college basketball player, but he must have been 3 or 4 years old, and we're out shooting baskets, and he's in it with the basket I'd lowered, so it wasn't that high, but he would get the ball, and the ball's almost as big as him, and he would throw it up underhand, and he would miss, and I go, okay, stay focused, look at it, come on, you're going to make one. And he goes, I can't. And I said, don't say you can't. If you say you can, I'm explaining this to a 3 or 4 year old. If you say you can't, you tell your brain will actually not even try to achieve it. Say you can. And he goes, I can't. And he misses again. And I go, come on, say you can. He goes, I can't. He goes, I can. And he throws one up. And he misses. And I go, all right, say I can again. I can. He hasn't made one the whole time. And he makes one. And that's the way your brain works too. Not just little 3 or 4 year olds, our brains, when we say something's not possible, it's not possible because the brain literally stops trying to achieve it. When you handle adversity, like we talked about the adversities that I've gone through and I know you've gone through, when you handle adversity, the way you've got to do it is not let adversity beat you back. Like when I had a business fail, I could have said, oh, I'll never have a business succeed. Because honestly, that would have been a pretty reasonable assumption based upon what I'd done up to that point. But instead of that, I'm like, no, man, I'm going to create even bigger success. I was more driven. I had more belief. And so get rid of the T. You can do it. A concept that I came up with several years ago was a mental diet. I actually have like these little coins. I call them mental diet coins. We feed our brains. We feed our feelings every single day. And we're either feeding them, this is food here, we're feeding them junk food, right? Negative thoughts, negative beliefs, negative emotions, and the cupcakes, the things that aren't good for your body there. We also have cupcake thoughts. And hey, cupcake every now and then. I'm not saying don't eat a cupcake, but cupcake thoughts or donut thoughts. Some of you are like, hey, you're hitting me pretty hard here, Tom. But those are things that destroy the body. They weaken the body. They taste good, but they're not good for you. And then we have thoughts that are really good for you. Thoughts that you're going to have to force yourself to create because they might not be existing in you right now. I had a good friend of mine, he's still a good friend of mine, a doctor. He says, Tom, look, here's the way you need to live your life. You need to check in with yourself and see how you're feeling. And when you're not feeling good, you've got to call a timeout and you've got to figure out, how do I change how I'm feeling right now? Because he said the way you want to live your life is with the feeling of this feels so good. What I'm doing right now and the way I'm feeling about it feels so good. It can't be wrong. And so when you're not feeling that way, call a timeout and see, what do I need to get rid of? Thought-wise, belief-wise, emotion-wise. What do I need to get out of my head, out of my life? And what do I need to bring in? And it's challenging because we get in these ruts where we just keep going down the same pattern of the junky thoughts. And so I want you to check yourself. Like during this conference, you're feeling great, but when it's done and you're not having all these people motivating you, how do you feel? How do you feel when you're prospecting? How do you feel when you're inviting? How do you feel when you get rejected? Right? Are you saying, hey, the universe is just working on me. I probably needed this. I'm going to learn something from it. See, that's a better thought to have than, oh, maybe I can't do this business after all. That's junk food. That's a donut thought, right? No more donut thoughts. Get rid of the donut thoughts. You can eat a donut every now and then, but no more donut thoughts. And then just remind yourself, the universe is always, in all ways, is working in your favor. And so prime your mind. And then the third thing you've got to do is you've got to prime your actions. You've got to, rather than making it harder for yourself or delaying success, which we all do to a certain extent, because we don't always do the perfect action every time, how can we have a more efficient path? You might have seen me talk about this before, but the breakthrough equation for me is put solid effort in, but I don't want to be working 24/7. I don't want to, I can do that for stretches. I'm not saying don't work hard, but give me some solid effort All I really need is solid effort. All you really need is solid effort. It's not like burn yourself out, go crazy, frothing from the mouth, bull in a china shop. No, solid effort, solid, consistent effort. You put that in, and then you multiply that by breakthrough effectiveness. So solid effort, doing the right things, that's how you get breakthrough results. That's how your life's going to go to the next level. You know, when I talked about all these investments I have, and Mark, who's kind of running the filming here, he asked me a question in between. He said, you know, what about that mall you had up in Provo? Well, guess what? I've never been to that mall. And I wasn't the only owner of it, but I was one of the big investors in it, in the apartment complexes. But what I've done is I have a person in my life who's a billionaire, friend of mine, and I invest with him. Whatever he goes into, I go into. And so that, for me, is a more effective way. The hotel in Hawaii, I didn't go find that hotel. I had another friend that had done really well with a hotel in Hawaii. And so I said, hey, you ever doing anything else? Let me know. I want to put some money in a deal with you. And so we did. So effectiveness, find ways to become even more effective. How do you become more effective? What are things you need to do? There's actually a combination. Part of how you're going to be more effective is by making calls, having meetings, having conversations, giving presentations, writing emails, all those things. That's the work part. But there's also a relaxation part that has to come into play. And not just relaxation. There's a replenishment. There's a fortifying that has to come into play. The people that drive all the time burn out, or they end up trying to take shortcuts because they're just not willing to do it the right way. I want you to be in the Prime My Body team, family for a long, long time. And the way that that's going to work is by you putting incredible, solid effort, like not overdoing it, but not burning yourself out, but putting solid, awesome effort into your business, right? It's not going to happen without that. But I also want you to put solid, awesome, incredible effort into you, into relaxation, into replenishment, into growth, into reading, into learning, into enjoyment, into fun. Those things have to be present. Otherwise, you'll never get to where you truly want to be. And so this is something you might have seen from me before too, but I look at the actions I could take. They fall into 4 quadrants. There's things that I could do that aren't really going to impact my dreams, and I don't really even like doing. And so that's the red quadrant you can see there. I try not to do those things. I either delegate those or minimize those. Then there's things I like doing, but they're not really going to impact my dreams. I got to be careful with those. And you need to figure out what those are for you, because those are the things that will draw you in and say, hey, come over here, come here. We'll keep you busy. We've got a lot to do here. Yeah, but it's not getting you anywhere close to your dreams. Write down 2 things that you think are in that quadrant, that yellow quadrant for you. And try to stop doing those so much, because they're attractive. They're calling you over. Come here, get over here. Come on, I'm fun. Yeah, you're fun, but you're not going to get me to where you want to go. Heck, there's lots of fun things we could go out and do that would be enjoyable for a moment, and they're either going to hurt us or they're going to keep us from getting where we want to go. And so some of these tasks, just like that. Then you've got upper right-hand quadrant, where they are going to impact your business and they're fun to do. You really like them. Do the heck out of those. Also, though, challenge yourself to dip down into the quadrant that only the winners go into. And that's the lower right-hand quadrant. That's the quadrant where there's huge impact on your results. But right now, you don't like doing those things. Because see, most people go, I don't like inviting. I'm not good at inviting. I tried inviting. It didn't work for me. I'm just not going to really focus in on it. Well, you don't focus in on inviting. If that's one of the tough things for you, you're not going to be successful in Prime My Body. Here's the thing that I found, something like inviting, maybe you're not good at it right away. Maybe you don't like it. Maybe it feels a little awkward or weird. But when you really start to work on it and you go through some failures and you let yourself get knocked down a little bit and you keep going, you like it. It actually grows on you. It becomes something that you can't see yourself not doing. When I think about the things that have made me successful in my life, in my relationship, my marriage, financially, in businesses, many of those things that have made me successful were initially in that lower right-hand quadrant. I had to go down in there and do things I didn't want to do and get better at them. And now most of those things aren't down there anymore. I actually like doing them now because your brain gets used to it and you start to shift in many of the things. So focus on your breakthrough quadrant. In closing, it's awesome to be with all of you again. The dreams you have inside of you, they're there for a reason. They may not be, the path to achieving them might not be exactly the way you want it to be, but I promise you, you're with a team of people at Prime My Body that want to make your dreams come to life. They want to see you live their dreams. They're going to fight for you. They're going to love you. They're going to do whatever it takes to make you successful. Tap into that. Do your part. It's not going to be just someone else doing it for you. Do your part, but tap into what you have here. This is a special family. I've worked with some great companies all around the world, and there's a reason why I'm putting a lot of energy and effort and love and care into Prime My Body. I know this company, hopefully with you involved, is going to be something that will be legendary, something that's going to help a lot of people. It already has, but it's going to help way, way more, and it's going to do it on a global scale. So I'm excited to be on that journey with you, and you know that I'm your #1 fan, so anything I can do for you, we'll find a way to help you. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you for spending some time with me.